Welcome to O-Talkin' with Dave. Put your hands together for the pastor of positivity whose glass is always at least half full. Here's Dave.
Hey, how we doing out there? I hope you're great. I hope you're doing very well, as am I. I'm top shelf, ready to go. And I got a positive message for you today. Hopefully most of my messages are positive. But I'm going to explain to you, I got some splaining to do. I'm going to explain to you why I believe that the next decade is going to be the greatest decade of your life. The next 10 years are going to be the best. And I'm not going to try to convince you. I'm going to tell you why. I don't care your age. The younger you are, it's probably going to be easier to be the best decade because you don't have that much to compare it to. But I'm 60. I know people that are 70, 75. They've got a great decade ahead of them. And why does this seem weird for me to be saying this? It's because you can't find good news. You can't find news for the most part. Turn it off, man. They just want drama and hyperbole. That's it. The next 10 years, it's going to be upbeat. It's going to be, there's a lot of naysayers. I got rebuttals for them. I guess any age, anywhere, we're in for a great decade ahead of us. Every generation has predicted that the best days are behind us. Remember the good old days? The good old days. Hey, please. These are the good old days, and they're all ahead of us too. The ones that predicted doom and gloom, they were all wrong. They were. They like to, and I like to think back. I tell stories of my childhood and so much fun. My kids, somebody will talk, they'll have kids a certain age, and I remember when my kids were that age. They're all good years. Yeah, you have tough moments, you have tough days, maybe tough weeks. But all in all, it's great. And you got to look for it sometimes, but it's there. History shows that every storm, every crisis, every end of an era, after that comes a wave of innovation and connection and growth that nobody saw coming. I see it coming. The next 10 years are not just another decade. They think of it as your decade. It's my decade. It's our freaking decade, if you choose to see it that way. So I'm going to go over 10 reasons. 10, not just 5. I usually do 5s and 3s. I'm going to go over 10 why this next decade, starting today, is going to be the greatest decade. And hey, anybody that has any doubts, I'm going to arm you with a rebuttal for it. So first of all, let's just jump right in. Accelerating technology. AI. Renewable energy. I am no environmentalist wacko, but just the technology behind renewable energy is going to lead us to other things without the politics. Breakthroughs in medicine. Every day you hear something. I think yesterday they talked about the weight loss pill. They're going to let Medicaid and some of the other assistance programs pay for it. You can look at it negatively and think, okay, so we can still eat anything we want. We got an obesity problem. Let's take drugs and get thinner. Our life expectancy is going to be longer because of some of the breakthroughs in medicine. The world is accelerating so fast. Just in my few years on the planet, a global study shows that half of experts say that AI systems are going to achieve milestones, double the milestones by 2028. That's 2 years. We're almost to 2026. It's going to double. Look how far it's come in the last 5-6 years. It's unbelievable. And that's not science fiction. That's next week, man. We don't even know what all it's capable of. It doesn't even know. It's learning from itself. And I don't even know what it is. But you've got things that, it's not just AI. It's how we use AI and the technology. I was laughing the other day. They were giving away thumb drives, like for your laptop. They were giving away 1 gig thumb drives. A gig? I remember I was over an engineering department, and we got a new CAD technology, and we had all PCs. There were no such things as laptops back then. That was science fiction. But we had, it took 8 meg to run this new program. We didn't have anything more than a 4 meg. And now they're giving away 1 gig of memory, just handing them out. They had a little promo. They had their logo on the side. That technology, and yeah, I'm no spring chicken, but that was 32 years ago. It's just unbelievable. I got a 2 terabyte hard drive. And I'm not techie at all. Anybody that knows me knows that. And if you keep listening, you'll realize that as well. I got a 2 terabyte external hard drive just as insurance. So when all my stuff crashes, I've got everything backed up. I got it for $50 on Amazon. Didn't know what a terabyte was. And I had 6 semesters of computer programming back in the fossil ages. But that accelerating technology, it's leaping forward. Now, the naysayer's going to say, oh, yeah, but it's ruining everything. AI is taking jobs. That is true, and it's going to continue to take jobs. But every major technological leap in history is what follows that is great advantages and new jobs, different jobs. Since the wheel or electricity or the internet, where were all the people that are involved in programming in the internet? What did they do before the internet? There was something else. And the internet was going to ruin everything. Guys, the same way. Those jobs are going to be replaced. Yeah, but more are going to be created. The World Economic Forum estimates AI will replace 85 million jobs. That's what some people, they choose to just let it go at that point. There's a but, and buts aren't good. Some butts are nicer than others. I'm just in a good mood. I apologize. It's going to eliminate 85 million jobs, but it's going to create 97 million new ones. Yeah, I'm not real good at math, but that's 12 million more. These are just estimates, but it's the estimates they have. So progress doesn't erase opportunity. It just moves it. An opportunity is going to be somewhere else. If you know this ahead, go back to the old talk, controlled failure. If you're in an industry that you're worried about AI replacing it, I think I would learn the enemy and find out, okay, where's my pivot? What can I do? What can I do that's not replaceable? But this technological advances, that's a reason it's going to be a great decade. It is. Let's talk about another thing. Are you glass half full or glass half empty? If you're glass half empty, you're going to have a tough time digesting all of this because there is more global optimism than ever before. That's another reason the next 10 years are going to be the best. In 2025, which is still 2025, 71% of people say they believe their personal future will improve this year. 71%. That's global. That's optimism on the rise. Yeah. And see, you wouldn't know that listening to the news or whatever. I've got people right now dreading Thanksgiving or canceling Thanksgiving because of the long lines at the airport. Please turn your TV off. The naysayers would say people aren't optimistic. Just look around. Yeah. Look around at your friends. Look around at the news. Look around at people who glass is half empty. If everybody's saying they're not optimistic, you need to find another group to hang out with because this year, 71% of the people said their personal future will improve. The people that aren't optimistic, they're not thinking about their personal future. They're listening to doom and gloom and hyperbole and drama. You can do something about your personal future. And I'm thrilled that 71% are giving it a thumbs up. True optimism doesn't usually trend because it's personal. And if everybody is down, and you don't want to tell them how good you've got it. If people are losing their jobs, you usually don't want to tell them how much you enjoy your job. So true optimism is quiet. It's steady. And it's very personal. People may complain online or in their posts, but privately they plan. They don't want to stay there. They don't want to be uncomfortable. And that's why personal optimism is growing. And it's more than just, it is hope, but it's more than just hope. It doesn't give headlines. Nobody wants to write that or read it. Headlines are noisy. They're not quiet. But your heartbeat is giving you optimism, and it's hopeful. So I love that. The technology. Better global optimism. It's 2 reasons. Another one? Innovations. I talked about the technology in medicine, but the third one is innovations in health and well-being, how we learn to live better and healthier. We're living longer. We're living much longer. My goodness. You look in and I used to do this when I'd go back and stay with my dad. Most of the time when you get his age before he passed, that's one of the first things you look at is the obituary. When in Rome, so I would look through it. And it was a shocker if someone was less than 70 years old. Used to be, it was, goodness, they would die within a couple of years of retirement age. Now they're 80s, 90s. On the news constantly, people living to 100 and beyond. And a lot of that is innovations in health and well-being. People are surviving illnesses that used to be a death sentence. You're not going to make it. People who get that don't make it. Innovation, it's happening. Treating mental health, that's become as seriously sought after as physical health. And science is catching up with what our souls have known all along. Wholeness matters. It does. You know how I feel about this, and I don't want to go too far with this. Real mental health issues are real. I'm not talking about being spoiled, being petted, having everything you've ever wanted your whole life, and then when somebody finally tells you no, you have a breakdown. I don't consider that real mental health issues. I'm talking about serious struggles, and with dementia and Alzheimer's and some of the others that are well known, but also versions of PTSD and people that are shook. We're getting better at that. The naysayers are going to say, no, we're getting sicker and more stressed out than ever. I agree with that. We're more stressed out than ever. But look what we're stressed out about. World War I, World War II people, what were they stressed about? Okay, what are we stressed about? I didn't get enough likes on my last post. Yeah, I'm not curbing my spending, so I need to make another $50,000. I hate my job. I hate my friends. My friends hate me. I'm not getting texts back quick enough. Look at the things we're stressed about. All right, let's grade that on a curve. We're not more stressed. We're just stressed about more things. Does that make sense? I would like to see this generation. I'd like to see my generation. I wouldn't want to see it, but compared to World War II generation, bunch of pansies. So, no, we're not getting sicker. We're not more stressed. We're getting smarter. We're getting faster. We're getting better at healing. Cancer survival rates are at record highs. And mental health awareness has exploded. We're not failing. We're finally paying attention. So any naysayer, we've got proof. We're not getting sicker. No, we're living longer. We're living better lives. The guidance. Now, there's a lot of scams out there around all different sort of, supplements or things you can take to make you feel better, look better, last longer, all of the above. Yeah. And the number of people that are on antidepressants, now they're making remarkable strides forward with that. But the proof is we're healthier. Our well-being is in much better shape. And go back to the technology and the optimism and the other things that we've said. The next decade, it's just going to keep getting better and better. I'm getting excited. This one, it can be a little, I go both sides on this. I don't want an overemphasis, but we've got cleaner and more affordable energy. Okay, hit me. Hit me with tomatoes, unless you live in California. $6 a gallon gas, that's not the energy, that's not the technology, that's the greed and taxes. Solar, I got to tell you, I moved to Vegas 2.5 years ago. I moved in the summer, and when my first air condition bill, that's what I call it, came in, and it was over $500, I called the solar people. Yeah. That $500 a month bill is now no more than $19. So I believe in it. If it's the thing, you got to understand, it's got to fit. It's got to fit. It's not the answer to everything, but for my power bill in the desert, the technology is fantastic. Electric vehicles have their place. They have their shortcomings. I don't believe in mandates. I think the market should drive everything. However, the technology is much better. I ride in electric vehicles all the time. Out here, a lot of our Ubers are electric vehicles or autonomous vehicles. Whoo, that's kind of weird. So I don't believe oil will ever go away in my lifetime. And I don't think wind is the answer. I'm no expert. However, that technology and all of the strides we're making in research, okay, there's some shifts that I believe are beginning. And then there's the people who say, oh, the planet's doomed. It's too late. It's too late. Man, I don't want to hang around these people. Yeah, there's different timelines. Yeah, we may be late. Yeah, but we showed up. We're doing better. We don't panic. Sometimes it's not a fast fix, but we adapt and we use what we got. And as we go, we're doing better. Emissions are down. Innovation is up. But doom sells the headlines. You can have your headlines. Hope drives results. So, cleaner, more affordable energy, that's what we want. That should be the baseline. Cleaner, it didn't say cleanest. And then other countries decide not to do it or whatever. Let's do what's best for us. Okay? Let's do what's best for us personally. And what's best for me, I drive a pickup truck. I love it. I have solar panels on the roof. I love it. I've got a smart house. I don't even know what it does. That's how dumb I am. However, I'm constantly knowing something. When my daughter gets here, the first thing she does is set my clocks because they're all different times. Hey, I'm not a thought leader on this, but I'm adapting to things as I go that I see, hey, that might help me. Okay, great. That's why 71% are more optimistic about next year. And I'm over the moon about the next decade. Okay, number five. Global connectivity and collaboration. We've entered the age of access. Yeah, just think about it. Knowledge, it doubles. I think every 12 hours now. With AI, that's going to be a lot quicker. Mentorship. You can be mentored by people of the world you've never met face to face. And opportunity. Nothing is tied to geography or really privilege anymore. It used to be location and money, rich kids, all of that. I didn't count before I hopped on here, but 44 countries and 350 cities all around the world. Listen to this. What? Are you kidding me? And the negative people say technology, it isolates people. No, it doesn't. It connects people. You go in public and you find me someone who doesn't touch their phone. Just look around at dinner. Look around for the 30, 45 minutes, hour, however long, and find somebody who hasn't casually touched their phone. If they have, they're connected to something. You know how little time we've had cell phones? I remember my first bag phone. It was as expensive as my AC bill here in Vegas because I was roaming. Technology doesn't isolate people. It's not just for the rich. Everybody's got it. Kids have got it. You won't want technology. You can't figure something out. You find a 13-year-old. They may not explain it to you, but they'll do it for you, which sometimes is even better. The only people that are isolated by technology are the ones that let it isolate them. The same phone that divides families can unite families and nations. And so that global connectivity and collaboration. People don't sit in their living rooms and play video games with their friends anymore. They play video games with their friends and their friends around the world. It's crazy. And we're just now learning how to do it well. One of the best things that happened as a result of COVID is remote work, remote classrooms, remote communities. They're connecting millions, that connected millions of people, and they're continuing to connect. It's made businesses more profitable. It's done a lot of, look, I'm not going to say it's done a lot of wonderful things. It has a lot of wonderful byproducts that would have not happened otherwise. So that global connectivity, you can find anything at any time, anywhere. And it's only going to get better. Learn how to use it. Don't let it isolate you. And then another thing, number 6, we're halfway through. We're halfway through the list. Number 6, and I've preached this, and I believe it with all my heart. A new generation is stepping up. Wait for it. Gen Z and millennials, yeah, we're leading with purpose, but choosing meaning over money, balance over burnout, and innovation over limitation, that's coming. People are understanding it. Marriages are lasting longer. Teenagers aren't drinking as much. They're not doing the sins. And that's the list. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. They better be doing rock and roll. But people aren't they're not getting out of high school and having kids immediately, which could hit the population and all that. But negative people say this generation's lazy. Well, let me tell you something. Lazy people don't start some of the movements that's being started. Lazy people don't launch companies in their late teens and early 20s. Lazy people, they don't really want to save the planet. We got some future thought leaders, maybe even some current ones. Now, I don't like the activism, but don't just call them lazy because you don't understand it or because they use technology to do 10 times more with half the effort, a tenth of the effort. So Gen Z is the most educated, entrepreneurial, and social conscious generation ever recorded since they've been keeping track of it. And it is measurable. They're not lazy. They're more focused on the metrics. They measure it. My generation and the ones preceded me, they're more opinion. They have their opinions. That's what they've always talked about kids. Kids today. The good old days. No, let me tell you something. Gen Z and even younger, they're finding a way to get it done now, faster, quicker. They don't know life before the internet. So, no. The new generation is stepping up, and it's just going to get better. It's just going to get better. Okay? Let's talk about number 7. Greater personal power. Think about it. And this could be many different ways. I'm going to talk about it in one aspect. But power is decentralized now. One person with a phone can raise millions of dollars or build a business or start a movement. The gatekeepers have lost the keys. Now, there's still corporate and organizations and everything. However, the power of a person that is driven, it's fantastic. And then the negative people are going to say ordinary people don't have power anymore. Ordinary, lazy people, ordinary, non-driven people, they never did have power. It was given to them and they didn't appreciate it. Nothing wrong with this. My dad did it. Not many people are going to go to a factory and work 8 to 10 hours a day for 36, 40 years and retire with a pension. It's just not the way it is anymore. Going back, that next generation that are lazy, they're making more money. They have more jobs. They have side gigs. Just because they don't have the same values or slow down how quick things are happening, they're moving at a faster rate. And part of that drives this personal power. Ordinary people have never had more. Think about it. The tools of influence and creation used to belong to very few. You had to be entitled. You had to be privileged. And that would still, I guess, that would still be true at certain levels. However, you get to certain levels and it's entitlement. Those aren't ordinary people. Ordinary people are going to fight for it. They're going to use all the things we've said before on this list. But because all of these things, the power of technology and influence and creation, it belongs to anyone who's willing to learn it and wants it bad enough. If you think you're powerless, you're not powerless. You just need to practice. It's there. Greater personal power. That is very exciting. And I think that leads to number 8, which is meaningful impact. You can make a difference. The bigger the global challenges, the greater the opportunity for whatever your purpose is. When problems arise, so do heroes of all ages. That's it, because we solve problems. You can make an impact. You can make an impact you can make an impact with a podcast. Sometimes you don't ask for followers. Sometimes people just follow you. They see you doing the right thing. The world's problems are not too big. Negative people will say that. World's problems are just too big. One person can't make a difference. Ugh. Please. How many people do we have to talk about in history? You can name so many. That was one person who took a stand and changed things forever, or started something that people generations later still carrying the torch. Or that coder out there who created the software. There's a software that detects heart disease. They got the little things now, like the size of a credit card. You can do a medical grade EKG right there. I think it's $50. Who did it? Somebody thought it possible and did it. And said, the naysayers, no, people aren't going to do that. They don't want to do their own EKG, blah, blah. It saved lives and alerted people. Every major change in history started with one person who refused to believe that one person can't make a difference. Has one person made a difference in your life? Think of that person. Okay? You are making a difference in somebody's life as well. Maybe more than one. And if that one person impacted you, I'm sure they impacted more. My papo, he impacted everybody he was ever around. And there are a lot of people, including me, that are better people because they were exposed to that. A quiet man who just lived a good life, a moral, hardworking, so many lessons. He made an impact. Maybe not on a global scale, but his corner of the world, he impacted it. His neighborhood, his family. You can be that. And then all of these other things that we've talked about in this list of 10 things, why this next decade is going to be the best. This makes more meaningful impact possible for you, for that one person to make a difference. I believe that with all my heart. Okay. Go off on a sidetrack. Okay, number 9. Resilience and the lessons learned are going to pay off in these next 10 years. What we've been through, enough storms to build some strong roots. And we can talk about the pandemic or economic shocks to the system, political violence, social unrest, all of that stuff. Yeah, I don't like it, but it builds resilience. It teaches us lessons. Some just go to the negative. Oh, we never learn. History always repeats itself. Again, you're talking about the masses. Yeah, history repeats itself for societies who don't learn from it. Individually, hey, we can repeat it faster and learn quicker and recover stronger. If we want to be negative in that way, it's still going to be better. Look how fast we got a COVID vaccine. Was it perfect? No. Did it keep it from spreading? No. But it kept a lot of people that were sick, overweight, old, other problems, kept them from dying. Now, that's proof we can rally. And that's why these things they multiply. Every one of these are compounded. It's so important to know that we're tougher because of what we've been through. And over the next 10 years, are we going to have tough times? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've still got my O-Talk coming up on don't think it can't happen to you. It's coming. However, we're stronger from what we've been through. And we're going to be able to use that over the next 10 years along with everything else. We got armor. We can fight now better than we could up until this point. I don't think I have many O-Talks that don't talk about toughness or resilience. So number 10, and this is, it's like the glue or the mortar that holds all this together, a rising baseline of hope. Okay. Yeah. Neuroscientists shows that optimists share unique brain patterns. Optimists rather than pessimists. Hope is hardwired. It's the way you think. That's when some people are just naturally glass half full. Some are naturally glass half empty. But that hard wiring of your brain, it fuels creativity and recovery and performance. Hope is hardwired. Okay? And then if you're not hardwired that way, you're going, yeah, hope doesn't pay my bills. Yeah. Negative Nancy. No, but hopelessness guarantees your bankruptcy. If you're hopeless, what's the use? Financial, emotional, spiritual, relationship, bankruptcy. Hope is just a start. It's the fuel. Every invention, everything ever invented started with an idea and some hope and some creativity. Every cure, every comeback story, the momentum. Hope doesn't ignore reality. It improves it. And there is a rising baseline of hope. I've proved it in the statistics. 71% say this year's going to be better for them. That's the majority. I don't think it was 71% last year. I don't have that stat. However, that's 71% of optimism is hope. It's a rising baseline. I love it. It's exciting. It's part of who I am as well. So we've got those 10 things. Why the next 10 years is going to be the best decade. How do we embrace that? Do you believe it? I could probably come up with more than 10 for sure. There may be 5 that are more important. But how do we embrace this over the next 10 years so that we don't get 6 years into it and First of all, you got to adapt a learner's mindset. I've always talked about stay curious, ask questions, want to know more. This technology is going to help us do that. Because if you stop learning, you're going to be stagnant. And I don't care how old or young you are. If you're curious about something, ask the question. If you're shy, I used to say Google it all the time, but I don't trust Google anymore. I use ChatGPT as my browser. Learner's mindset. Dig in. Find out. You got a problem. You got something going on. You want to do better at something. Be curious. Okay? The second one, let's set some bold goals. Let's reach for it. Some stretch goals, but be flexible. And depending on your age, you still need to be bold but flexible. Have a direction, but hold on to it. It's a 38 Special song, Hold On Loosely. Because things are changing so quickly, we need to be able to tweak these goals. Yeah, change is a feature of the future. That's not what's wrong with it. That adapters, the learning mindset, that's learn how to adapt to change as well. And set these bold and flexible goals. Also, invest. This is so important. Invest in cross-generational relationships. When I was young, I hung out with more older people than people my age. Then I got older. I hung out with people older than me, my age, and now here comes some whippersnappers. Now, I am one of the old guys. But that youth brings energy. You can learn so much from older, wise people. You can learn so much from younger people too. Age brings wisdom, but youth brings energy. And you need both. And you need to share both. If I have people my age that are just sitting around the house, they don't ever want to go out, they don't ever want to do anything. I go to a metal show and I'm not in the pit, but I'm pit adjacent. They think I'm the owner or the accountant or something like that. Yeah, all people my age, I'm too old for that. Yeah, you're probably right. You are too old. I'm not. Share, cross-generationally. It's important. Have friends of all ages. Leverage new tools. That's where the technology part, and hanging out with the younger people and having a learner's mindset. Technology, it's a teammate, not a threat. It's a tool you're going to use. How many times you use a butter knife as a screwdriver? So you've adapted before. Technology, learn new tools. I love it when I see people older than me in airports on their phone with that one thumb taking care of business, man. It's great. And they're there, and technology is going to keep bringing them. And then it's also important to build micro habits and triggers. Tiny little consistent actions, and they stack. When I do this, I'll do this. I can do that while I'm doing that. Have your routines and your habits. You got to have some flexibility, but that can just think of all these little micro habits you use that you get good at without you having to think about it because it's a habit now. Just think about in 10 years how many of those and how finely tuned they will be. So that's ways to embrace it. And then part of this is going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. You need to share the good news. It's what I'm doing today. Tell stories of progress. Your own story of how it's better. Stories at work about how it used to be this way. Now it's this way. This would have taken 5 years. We did it in 6 months. Don't spread panic. Spread possibilities. That's important. And you'll be a thought leader and a leader of all different kinds. You're going to help people older than you, your age, and these young guys coming up. Because those are the dreamers. You're having that vision, the creators, the ones who are going to think of that next idea. You got to believe they can so that they'll believe they can. And then celebrate every win, no matter how small. There's no such thing as a small victory. No such thing as a small victory. Celebrate them. And then that is showing all the generations. Talking to each other about possibilities. Talk with each other instead of about each other. Let's chase this gossip away or bringing people down to lift you up. Or all the negative things I said about the 10 reasons. There are people out there saying that. Bridge the generations. Show them it doesn't have to be that way. And I think one of the most basic ways to share the good news is say we more than I. It's not about me doing better. It's about us doing fantastically well. Because if we are doing better, I don't have to worry about me. I'm part of we. It's important. And so just some action items. Start each morning with what's one thing I can do today that my future self's going to thank me for. I'm going to look back and say, that's the day I started that. And there's so many. We're at the end of 2025. You don't have to wait till New Year's resolutions. You can. That's when we usually do. But what's one thing that I can start and we'll say instead of 10 years, 5 years, I'm thinking, oh man, I remember the day I started. I remember the day I started preparing for a half marathon. I think I ran 100 yards and threw up in the street. But when I finished that 13 miles, I'm thinking, I remember the day I started. One thing, start each morning with that. Then each night, I love it. Before you go to bed or maybe while you're laying there, before you go to sleep, just do a quick 5-minute review of your day. And from that, okay, what did I learn today that I'm going to do tomorrow? So important. This one is one of my favorite new trigger obsessions. At least one time a day. Text, call, compliment, or connect with somebody. You don't have to be creepy. It can be something you saw and you text, hey, I just saw this. It made me think of you. Remember the time? You don't have to talk to anybody. And you can do it while you're walking. You may walk into somebody, but that's okay. Smile at somebody. Say hello. Good morning. I'm almost obsessed with this now. And it's reaped so many more benefits for me. It's great. And you learn something new every day. We talked about curiosity. Ask questions. Asking questions keeps you younger than you would have otherwise, and it endears you to people. And that, all of these things, it's going to help move you forward. So the next 10 years are not going to be perfect. No such thing. But if you have this mindset, they're going to be so powerful to you and those around you. They're going to be filled with just the inventions and the technology and the conversations and the connections, all of that. Maybe people that you don't even know today are going to be so important to you. And that in itself rewrites what's possible. And you're going to have many people saying it's not possible. That's a trigger. That person is either they don't deserve to be around you or they need to be enlightened. Help them out. So pessimists often sound smart. They sound like critical thinkers. Yeah, they can be critically thinking. They can be naysayers, but optimists build things. They build the future. A pessimist never built a bridge because he don't think it can come together. Optimists do. They build the future. So we'll let the cynics grumble because they always do. But what we've got to do over the next 10 years, we can define our legacy. We can deepen our relationships and we can expand our reach. But let's start now. Let's not wait till the first of the year. Because the best decade of your life doesn't start on January 1st. It starts when you decide to start it. And let's go ahead and start today. Helen Keller, her birthplace is Tuscumbia, Alabama, which is right where I grew up. And although through the years I may or may not have told too many Helen Keller jokes, what an inspiration this woman was. Blind, deaf, mute, putting a house in the backyard. And oh, what she accomplished. But she said, optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. The next 10 years are going to be the best. I have hope and confidence, and I'm optimistic, and I hope you are too. Let's start today. Hit me up, david@otalks.com, david@otalks.com. Just pat around on the site. You might find something. But I appreciate it. Please tell me what you think about this. 10 years from today, We may do a recap and talk about the next 10. But I want to hear how some of these things have helped you. What did you start? Who did you talk to? What's your new trigger? What are these optimistic things? Please email them to me. I read them all and respond to them. So thanks so much. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging on. But most of all, thanks for talking with Dave. Giddy up.